YouTube! Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Perspective, our weekly show, football betting perspective with Jim Stroker. How you doing, Mr. Jim? We had a rough week last week, I'd say.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful, man. I'll tell you what, I'm still hurting from that one, man, for sure.
And
But hopefully we bounce back this week, man. I think everybody had some difficulties this last weekend.
Oh, yeah. But I'll tell you, two people who didn't have some difficulties. The spread master and the spread buster came through. And
They did, man.
the experts in the field have come through, and that's showing some promise in the spread master and spread buster land. I'm just going to say that. Maybe we need to start taking them a little bit more serious.
You know, the spread master started off an 0-2, so he had to dig in, do some research. So spread busters but he hit the ground running, the spread buster. So, but that they picked the toughest week of all, and they nailed it.
It's crazy. Just this week, that last week, man, nothing went the way it should have. And there's going to be weeks like that, and Vegas is Vegas for a reason. They know their stuff. They've ran millions and millions of simulations of the games. Sometimes it doesn't make sense on the surface, but they know their stuff. Let's face it, they know their stuff. We're trying to beat a system. Where are you at right now?
I am in Nashville, Tennessee at the Gaylord here, just relaxing, got to my room and just kicking back, man, for the evening. I'm absolutely worn out from traveling today.
I bet, man. Little side note for the audience. We stayed at the Gaylord Hotel for my bachelor party. We went to Nashville, about 20 of us, and the rumor is Jeremy's still walking around there till this day. Hasn't slept yet. No, we had a blast. We raised Michelob Ultra stock by ourselves that weekend, and it was just a great time. And appreciate that from back in the day. I know I've told you that many times in the past, but that's a great hotel, fun times. If you ever get the chance to stay there, I highly recommend. But how about we dig into last week and just, we go over these games. We'll start off with Florida -8 at Kentucky. You and me seem to be on the same page. I mean, Florida just stuck with Alabama the week before, and here they are going on the road to Kentucky. Is it a hangover, or what'd you think about this game, Jim?
Well, I tell you, University of Kentucky's got a good coach. He's got some good bloodlines. And he's squeaked several games out this year, and they were playing at home. And I think Florida just miscalculated them. I didn't think they expect them to be as good as they were, and they did everything right that game, and they came out and won the game. And I watched a little bit of that game. It was a pretty good game. Kentucky's quarterback played really well. Their running game was really well. The defense made some outstanding plays on defense for University of Kentucky.
Holding Florida 13 points and beating them with their quarterback only completing 7 times. That's pretty crazy. I mean, they controlled that game. They slowed it down, and it's just pretty good performance by UK. Definitely underestimated their potential. BYU -8.5 at Utah State. This is your game that you hit right on the head. What did you think about this game?
Now, BYU struggled a little bit there for a while with Utah State, but got their act together and ended up prevailing and winning, and they're really they're obviously 5-0. They've got a great start to the year. So I really enjoyed that football game, but that got that one right. That was a good game.
Yeah, I was sweating there in the second quarter. It looks like it was 17-10 there for a second. But yeah, very good call. Nice work. Moving on, my lock of the week that was not so lock. Under 48 points, Iowa versus Maryland. Hell, I wouldn't have won that if I just bet Iowa under 48 points. What the hell happened here?
What in the hell happened? I mean, here you got two major defensive teams in college football that have held their opponents to 11 and 14 points average and all of a sudden, Iowa comes out of nowhere and just blows Maryland out. And I'm sure that I didn't really get to watch this game, but I'm sure it had to do with some good defensive play on Iowa and turnovers.
Oh, yeah.
And them capitalizing on the turnovers.
I think the grand total of turnovers was 7 by Maryland.
Their
quarterback, Tagovailoa, 5 interceptions. 5.
There you go.
They couldn't even get past the 50-yard line. So it was a bad beat. I'm not going to lie. I think if you're going to turn the ball over 7 times against a top 5 opponent, they're going to hang 50 on you. That's pretty consistent with most of these top 5 teams. Let's just be real.
Yeah, absolutely. And they scored on the turnovers.
Yep, they did their job. They held them under 24. That's 27 consecutive games for that Iowa defense now under 24 points. That's pretty impressive. Big game this weekend. This though, I won't be surprised if that's broken this weekend.
I tell you, that's going to be a tough game against Penn State, right? That's who they got. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a heck of a football game to watch. You got 2 great coaches. Obviously Iowa State's defense is amazing, so that's going to be one to watch for sure.
All right, your lock of the week that was not so lock. I love this pick. I told you if I would have remembered West Virginia, I probably would have picked this as the lock of the week too. -7 at home against Texas Tech. Down 14-0 in the first quarter. I was like, uh-oh, this isn't good. But here they come creeping up in the third quarter. They tie the ball game, have all the momentum, and they just can't get it going, man.
They should have covered. They should have covered. The difference in the game was those 2 touchdowns in the first quarter.
Oh, yeah.
And they just struggled. They didn't even score a point in the first half. So, if they score or get any kind of drive together, I think they overlooked Texas Tech. I think they really thought that they were going to blow Texas Tech out, just kind of like I thought. So Texas Tech just smashed them in the mouth. So
we're getting to that point of the season where you start playing some, inferior opponents, and you have to look for these teams maybe overlooking, or that hangover effect that maybe like a Florida had from the previous game. So
yeah,
it's hard.
There's two games right in a row. You talk about the Florida game and this game right there. Mm-hmm. West Virginia should have won and Florida should have won.
Yep. Moving on, Texas A&M -7 against Mississippi State. Didn't even win the damn game.
I told you about Leach. I told you that guy scares me, man. He's a great coach, great offensive, one of probably the greatest offensive minds in college football, in football alone, starting at Texas Tech and coming up with that air raid. He's just a real logical type of guy, and he does what it takes, and he gets his guys to play for him.
Yes, sir. We were kind of texting after the show, and I was like, I like all of our picks, but I didn't really like this pick. I was struggling hard to find a college football game for my third pick last week that I really liked, and I kind of just went out on a reach here. No really rhyme or reason, and it's what I get, man. Leach is the real deal.
You remember when we first started talking about last week, we were both struggling with the games. Yep. So we should have known right there and there it was just going to be a real tough week. But I didn't think ended up being as tough as it was.
Yep, that's kind of crazy. All right, in your last game, Boise State -6.5 against Nevada, and they didn't win the damn game either.
Unbelievable. I mean, here they're at home too. They're playing at home. I mean, they're a home favorite. Nevada hadn't done very well or played really, very many good teams. And Boise State, again, they just kind of struggled. They let them, linger around, get the lead in the first half. Or no, they were just down by 1. Nevada was just down by 1 in the first half. So it was 21-20. And Nevada came right out at halftime and just, had a great third quarter and got ahead of the game. And Boise State never recovered.
Jim, can I ask you something? So we had them at -6.5. Viewers, we do the show every Wednesday. Do you pay attention to how the line moves throughout the week? Because it looks like by game time, the line was only -3.5. So it lowered 3 whole points by game time. So that means money was pouring in on the Nevada side, correct?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So for whatever reason, somebody knew something or somebody figured out something. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
I just was curious. I don't ever remember seeing a line switch, that much from Wednesday to Saturday. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Something to pay attention to if you are in the betting world. Pay attention to those lines and move across the week, because they will move. And if they're moving in that kind of direction, maybe it would have changed your mind betting this. You know what I mean? Something's going on. All right. Moving on to the NFL. We both said we liked the NFL more last week, and we didn't do very well in that either, ladies and gentlemen. We had two of the same games. One was a lock. We didn't hit either of them.
Oh, man.
So let's start off with the Bengals. I think the Bengals showed who they actually are this week, and they came out 14-0. I was like, oh, gosh, here we go again.
Yeah.
And these Thursday night games are wacko. I mean, how do you predict a Thursday night game? I mean, people show up when they don't. Jacksonville comes to Cincinnati, puts on that kind of a performance. Urban Meyer leaves there, goes straight to his bar, hooks up with some women, and goes back to
I think he was happy. I think he was a little too happy about his performance. And, instead of going home with the team, he decided to go up to the bar there in Columbus, and then got himself in a little bit of trouble, man.
Oh, he sure did. He's not winning on the field or off the field, it looks like, unfortunately.
Now just keep that in mind. There's all that kind of happening might help us out this week a little bit.
Making a little pick there. I like that. I like that little foreshadowing.
Might help us out a little bit this week.
A little bit of distraction in Jacksonville, I'm going to guess, this week.
Yeah.
But what do I know?
Let's just put that in our pocket and let's think about that.
Yeah, I like the thought process. The same thing. Bengals just fell too far behind too quickly. When that happens, they played catch up and they just couldn't cover that spread. It's a big number, 7.5. Even if we bought the point, we weren't winning this one. Something I am going to start putting on here with us is if we're going to buy a half point or point, because if we're not going to bet it the way it is, those aren't true losses. True. You know what I mean? So
no, absolutely.
So I want to be as transparent as possible. I am going to be able to bet on some games this weekend. I'm heading down to North Carolina, so that's going to be fun. So we'll see what goes on.
Absolutely.
Moving on. Only game I got right of the week, Kansas City versus Philly, and that was a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Complete shootout, 72 points together. What in the world? Kansas City.
That was scary. That first half was scary, man.
21-13 at halftime. I was like, uh-oh. They're down 10-7 at the end of the first quarter. But Tyreek Hill's just too much, and man, can that guy fly. That's insane. I thought it should have been actually more than this. Philly can push the ball down the field pretty well. Jalen Hurts is actually like third or fourth in yards this year passing the ball, which is kind of crazy. Did you get the chance to watch this game?
Yeah, I got to watch a little bit of that game, just going back and forth through the games. But, again, Jalen Hurts, like he said, he had a pretty good year this year so far. And, he's just going to continue to get better and better. And, really the Eagles have a pretty good football team. I mean, for being 1-3, they're probably one of the better 1-3 teams in the NFL.
Yep, I think them and the Vikings are kind of both pretty good for 1-3, a little bit better than what they've performed so far. The schedule's not doing those guys any favors. Moving on, you had the Rams minus 4.5 against the Cardinals. Gosh, the Cardinals look good, man.
What the hell? Here's little Murray just running around, just tossing that ball everywhere, and they can't catch him. And, then the week before, he doesn't really have a great game, and he shows up, against, a 3-0 LA Rams at home and beats them by 17 points. I mean, come on. Unreal.
He literally can beat a pass rush like that by himself. I don't even think he counts how many steps he takes back. He takes that snap and just takes 7 or 8 steps back. He's 10 yards deep before he throws the ball. And then if they get too close to him, he's so quick they can't touch him. Their offense is must watch. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. Defense, they don't have a very good defense, but, I'd like to put a pedometer on on Murray and see how many miles he runs in a game, because it's got to be like a half a marathon or something.
AJ Green has actually been playing well for him. Him and Hopkins, running deep routes, catching 50-50 balls. They got Rondell Moore in the slot, the speed quick guy. They have Christian Kirk running deep routes for the pure speed guy, and then they have Chase Edmonds out of the backfield. That's a scary team offensively.
No, offensively, they got every weapon that's to put up some serious points, as well as they did, again. But I was just surprised with the Rams defense that they weren't as prepared as they were, or what happened there, or they overlooked them.
I think they're going to do that to a lot of people. I think they're going to put up some points.
Yeah, I agree.
So our last lock of the week.
Oh boy!
Let's be transparent here, though. We didn't know that they were going to play in a monsoon. That might have I might have said I would give the Patriots at least a small chance if I knew it was going to pour down rain the whole time. But they couldn't. They couldn't throw the ball.
Couldn't throw the ball. And obviously Belichick, did what he had to do on his side of it, because he did everything he could to win that game. He's probably prepared that game more than any other game this year, probably just because it was Brady and versus Brady. But it was a hell of a football game, but they were playing in a monsoon, and Brady ended up coming out on top, but he didn't cover that spread, boy.
And Antonio Brown had a touchdown late that he caught it, hit the ground, and dropped. I think that happened to another player on their team too. I kind of fell asleep in the fourth quarter, but the spread was there to be covered. That's all I'm going to say.
It was.
And
it was. They needed
bad beat, man.
They just run out of time.
All right, let's go over to the spread buster and spread masters game. My gosh, did Georgia look good again, man? They could beat Alabama. I'm starting to get on the Georgia train. Their defense is crazy.
Yeah, no, they're the real deal. The defense is a powerhouse, absolute powerhouse, because Arkansas has one of the most powerful offenses in the NCAA, and their defense is not too shabby either. Mm-hmm. But man, Georgia just came out and absolutely Arkansas. I forget. It might have been, I don't know when they finally passed their own 20-yard line. It was a long time into the game.
It sure was. They only had 150 yards of offense.
Yeah. They could not pass their own 20-yard line in this football game. It was Georgia's defense was just amazing.
And it seemed like every single time they'd get a false start or a holding, or then they'd be set back even more, and you're just like, gosh, there's just nothing they can do. So spread master, good call, my friend.
Good call. I was kind of, I hate to say it, I was kind of like chuckling. I'm like, yeah, ain't no way,
Yeah, I know.
He called it right.
Yep, I was with you. And how about Cincinnati, man? They are going to make some noise. This is their hardest game of the year, and they looked good, man. This game, the score is actually closer than what the game truly was. I know at one point it was 17-13, but when it was 17-0, Cincinnati was driving down the field into the red zone, and that I think they had a tipped pass get intercepted, which they went down and scored on. So there was potential there for it to be, 20-0, 24-0, and then we're looking at a full-blown blowout.
Yeah, no, and you remember, I said, I think 2 weeks ago, I said, look out for Luke Fickell. He's on that. He's got playoffs on his mind, and he really does, man. He's got his guys prepared. Man, that quarterback, man, he's got to be they got to be starting talking about him for the Heisman,
I think he's 6th now in Heisman.
Yeah. He's got to be moving up, for sure. He's a great quarterback. He's got a great skill set. He's a competitor, and then, like I said, Luke Fickell has his defense going. So he's definitely got. He wants to make them playoffs.
We're hopping back on the train. We're giving our sizzling 6 picks of the week. We're just gonna go for it, man. It is what it is. We're not perfect. We are presenting what we think, what our research is. This is our perspective on the thing. Take it or leave it. We're going to keep doing our thing, Jim. It can't get any worse than
that. Maybe we get one of those weeks where we go 6-0. Mm-hmm. This week's doesn't seem as difficult as last week with everything that's going on, some crazy things, but I got some picks. I think they're good picks, and I think we'll have to wait and see what Saturday and Sunday holds.
I love it. I love the optimism. Let's get this going, Jim. You have anything else to say about last week before we move on?
I'm glad it's over.
Me too, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm very glad because that was
Yeah.
hard to swallow, man. After this,
It was frustrating watch. It's just frustrating watching football games, and then just knowing that teams were capable of doing certain things, and it's just like maybe it was a full moon. Heck, I don't know. Something was out, man.
What's going on? I think many players might have been at Urban Meyer's bar with them or something. Something wasn't right.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Give me that first college football pick of the week for our Sizzling Six picks here on the Football Betting Perspective.
Let's go to the Georgia-Auburn game.
Uh-oh. Well, Georgia-Auburn game. How am I overlooking this? Oh, there she blows. We got the spread of Georgia minus 15.5. What are you feeling?
It's 3:30 game. You know, Georgia with their awesome performance against Arkansas. You can't overlook that. You can't overlook their defense. And I'm going to tell you, Auburn was struggling against LSU. I watched that game a little bit, and it looked like LSU was going to win that game. And then, I mean, Auburn did come back and end up winning. But I think that I think Arkansas is better than Auburn. So give me Georgia. I know it's 15.5 points. I'll probably buy 1.5 points, and I'll probably take Georgia minus 14.
I love it, brother. I love it because my first pick is the same damn thing. I've stared at this. I each week, man, I'm digging farther.
I love this shit that we a lot of times we pick the exact same game. So that's a good feeling, man.
It's a good feeling, but then we go 0 for 3 when that happens. So
yeah, well,
I don't know, man.
This week's gonna be different.
I'm with you, dude. Their defense is too good. I have in my notes, is exactly what I have. This is something to look at before we jump on this Georgia bandwagon, is their QB's hurt. Is he going to play full speed ahead? If he's good to go, then I really like it. I think that line might even get a little bit smaller, minus 12 if he's not going. And I think you're right, man. I think their defense is too good. And shut down everybody, and Auburn has a very questionable QB who's been there for 45 years, Bo Nix, and he's not a very good thrower of the football. And
Nick struggled the first half last week, and then to Georgia's credit too, they got a pretty good backup quarterback.
They do, and all their weapons are getting healthy. Their offense seems to be clicking. This is at Auburn, but it's not a night game. After watching Georgia do that to Arkansas, it's hard to imagine somebody moving the ball against them.
Yeah, no.
It really is. And I think that's a safe pick. I think it's a smart pick, and I would bet that every week. And I think that's a smart pick.
Absolutely. No, I'm glad we both picked the same exact one.
All right. So, pick number 2 on the Sizzling Six picks of the week.
Okay, I'm going to kind of go away from the limelight here and a lot of these big teams. And this is a 6 p.m. game.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to look at University of Texas, San Antonio at Western Kentucky.
Ooh, I actually looked at this game, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's man, I've looked. You got to look. University of Texas, San Antonio. They're undefeated. They're 5-0. They've had some pretty good games that they've played. I think their resume is a lot better than Western Kentucky, and they beat Memphis,
beat UNLV,
and they beat a good Middle Tennessee State University.
They beat Illinois.
And they beat Illinois. I mean, this right here has got money all over it. So we're just going to make this one the lock of the week.
You take it,
write it in, lock of the week. Bet big money on the University of Texas, San Antonio. They're going to blow Western Kentucky out at home.
Plus 3.5.
I like the spread too. They're getting points.
You think they're going to win the game outright, or you want to be?
They're going to win the game outright. They're going to win the game outright. I think they might even win by 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. There it is, man. I put the spread and went outright. That's your lock of the week. I like it.
Yep.
I like that a lot, man. I'm not just saying this. I did have this game up.
Yeah.
I saw that a 1-3 team was favored against a 5-0 team that played this schedule, and I just didn't know if I was missing something because I couldn't find much on this game.
Here's the thing, too. University of Texas, San Antonio's defense, rushing defense is unbelievable. They are great against the rush. So if Western Kentucky University is going to have any chance, they're going to have to throw the ball in the air.
I like that. Smart pick. I'm going back to the limelight. This killed me a couple weeks ago when I told you I'm taking Bama against these teams that, when the spread's under 18, 16, and I just think they're going to demolish Texas A&M. I don't think it's going to be a ball game. Texas A&M's on a skid. They've lost the last 2 games. They can't really score very well. They do have a fantastic defense. I would give that to him. Jimbo Fisher is a good coach. But look at this points per game differential. 45.6 to 23.4. That alone defeats the spread. Just if they score their average, against every bum team that they've played. 17.5 is a lot. I would be buying a 1.5 to try to get to 16. And I think that Alabama probably covers even the 17.5, but I would try to play it a little safer, and I would buy a point or a 1.5.
Yeah, increase your odds.
What do you think about that game?
Hey, Texas A&M, like you said, they've been on a skid. Jimbo Fisher's the coach. Alabama, as long as they don't get complacent and they keep the throttle down, they should do their job there at Texas A&M. They should.
No, I'm changing my mind here. I'm not even going to buy a point. I think 17.5. I think they handily win this game. I just have a weird feeling that they come out and dominate, similar to what they did last week against Ole Miss. They made them a better offensive team. Did you see the over/under in that game?
On what game?
The Alabama Ole Miss game.
I didn't. What it was like 90 some, wasn't it?
It ended up being 80. They maxed it out at 80 points over/under before the game, and it was the highest over/under of like the last 2 years in a football game.
That's crazy.
They didn't hit it, obviously, but Alabama's defense looked really good against a much, much better offensive power football team. Matt Corral is a good quarterback, and Lane Kiffin knows his personnel. So I just feel like, again, kind of like Georgia last week, I'm going to take the repeat performance from the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Go.
All right, man. What is your last pick?
The next game, let's go to the Big Ten. And, I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it. It's Michigan at Nebraska, and I'm going to have to ride that Michigan train. I don't think that Scott Frost and Martinez, I think that I'm going to call him Hairball. I think Hairball is going to have them ready to go and go ahead, and I'm going to take the 3.5 with Michigan at Nebraska, and I think they cover pretty easily. I think Michigan's got a pretty good solid team. They've been up and down. Martinez had a good week last week, but he's either on or he's either off, and I think he'll struggle this week, and I think Michigan's going to win pretty easily.
Michigan does have one of the best defensive ends in the country too, and I think pressure really gets to Martinez. Are you buying any points on this? Try to get it to 3?
If I want to do it, I'll probably get it to 3, so I'll buy a half a point. Probably buy a whole. What I'll do is buy a whole point, get it under 3, so I'll buy 1 point, get it to -2.5. And I think that's a solid pick. I think that all they got to do is if they stop Martinez and put a spy on him or something, Nebraska's going to be dead in the water.
Yeah, and let me see what my last. Oh, that's right. This is my lock of the week. Michigan -3 at Nebraska. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I had this game circled as soon as I saw it. I know Mr. Martinez tried to ruin my Michigan State Thunder a couple weeks ago. It's not happening. Michigan is a better team, and I mean they're going to come out and prove it. Look at that resume. Look what they just did to a very good defensive Wisconsin team, 38-17. Look at that trend, and we'll do this trend. Yes, Nebraska played very well against a very, very poor Northwestern team, but any good team that they played this year, they lost the game. They did keep it close, which scares me a little bit, but I think that Michigan is going to cover -3 or I'd say -2.5 as well.
Well, I'm telling you, here we got 50 football games to try to pick from, and out of those 50 football games, we picked 2 of the same football games. So I'm feeling really confident now.
Yep, I had that game circled on, and the game you picked, I stared at that forever. That was almost. I'm glad I went back to Alabama.
Wouldn't that be something if you would have picked that same game and we would have had the 3 exact games?
That would have been weird. You have to admit that would have been weird.
So you really was looking at that game?
I swear, because the 5-0 to 1-3 was like, that is very weird. Why is this 1-3 team favored? All right.
Oh man.
Moving on to the NFL, I have to say this week, opposed to last week, I kind of like the college games a little bit better than the pro games.
Yeah.
A lot of close spreads that are, damn near pick'ems. What's your first game in the NFL, Sizzling 6?
Well, I'm going to go with the first game is the Green Bay Packers at the Bengals. And the Bengals are going to they're going to run into a wall here. I think Green Bay is way too strong offensively, defensively, but especially offensively. Aaron Rodgers is getting it done. They've got too many weapons on the offense. I think that they can pretty much score at will. Their last 2 games, they have been unbelievable. So they've done what they've needed to do. They tore Pittsburgh up. They beat San Francisco. They had, a little bit of scare in the beginning of the first half of the Detroit game, but they have won all the last 3 games pretty easily.
Yep.
No worries.
No worries. I'm not worried about that at all because that's my first pick of the week too, man. The Packers -3, and
go buy half a point. You can buy half a point and get it for 2.5.
Yep, that's exactly what I said. I'm gonna get it down to 2.5. Yep. And let me tell you what I have written down exactly. I think the Packers are just better. I think Bengals are blessed with a good schedule so far. Only quality win, in my opinion, is the Vikings so far.
Right.
But I think Green Bay will score at will. I think their defense will get exposed, kind of like what Trevor Lawrence did last week. And this game does have shootout potential. And let me tell you why. The Packers corner, Jair Alexander, isn't playing. And I don't know if they really do have someone that can match up with Chase on the outside. I'm not going to lie.
No, he's an outstanding rookie for the Bengals. No, there's no doubt. He creates really good separation. He's just got a natural ability. He's fast. He's quick. He's a great wide receiver for sure, and it's a great target for Burrow.
The fact that they played together and they kind of have that chemistry, it shows, man. It just does.
Yeah, no, it's spot on. So that's good. But I think that still, and I think you've watched them like I've watched them. The Bengals still have been shaky. They've pulled it out where normally they wouldn't have pulled it out. Yeah. So this game, I don't think they're going to have a chance to pull it out. That's not even going to be close.
You hit it right on the head. They're winning games the old Bengals even last year wouldn't have. Yeah. But you're right, man. I just don't think this is going to be even a situation where they have a chance to win it. Does make me slightly nervous with this. I thought about putting a lock beside this, but I kind of got scared when I saw Jair Alexander, and they're expecting the largest crowd at the Bengals stadium in like the last 10 years for this game.
There's going to be a lot of pissed off Bengals fans after this.
They are coming, and tickets are outrageous. So I couldn't believe it. All right, moving on. Pick number 2, Mr. Jim. What are you looking at? If this is the same, I'm hanging up and we're We'll just I'll
Well,
do the rest of the
I
show
think
by myself.
I kind of alluded to the fact that there was a little bit of trouble in Columbus over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to the Titans Jacksonville game, and I think there's a lot of controversy going on. I think there's a lot of things that upset the cart there in Jacksonville with Urban Meyer's public apology and everything that he did. I think it's there's it's kind of hard to overcome that adversity, especially when you do it to yourself. You're embarrassed, and so it probably wasn't a great decision on his part. But give me that controversy and the Titans losing to one of the worst football teams in the NFL, the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans bounce back and they cover, and I would buy 1.5 in this game.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons the spread's so close is because they lost last week, but people don't realize that A.J. Brown and Julio sat out. So
yeah,
I think this line might be a little bit skewed because of that, and I think you're right, man. Once you get this big news with Urban, who knows how these guys are going to respond.
No, I mean, that's definitely, it's going to be definitely a distraction without a doubt.
Good pick. I did not pick that pick, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
I'm going here to the Steelers Broncos, and I'm actually taking Pittsburgh to win pretty handedly. And the reason being, I think Drew Lock sucks. Teddy Bridgewater's hurt. Drew Lock comes in, their backup QB. He's a gunslinger. If you get him to miss his first 3 or 4 passes, he's like a streaky 3-point shooter. He is off his game the rest of the game. Big turnovers. I mean, the only disappointment truly with the Steelers is their secondary on the defensive side so far. I think they kind of get it back together this week. I think they get some pressure and they get some interceptions finally. Drew Lock is not very good.
Yeah, and really, I mean, if you look at the win record, do you really think Pittsburgh's going to go 1-4? I don't.
Against this.
No, I think that they've got. This is probably a game they can win.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a pick 'em pretty much. So
yeah,
I would take Steelers -1 straight up. I wouldn't even buy.
Yeah,
I wouldn't buy anything. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win 20-13. 24-13. Get some stuff.
They got a lot of pressure on. They got a lot of pressure on them right now. They're 1-3. They beat the best football team in the NFL week 1, and then they haven't done anything since. So look out. I think that's a good pick. I really think that the odds are just in the Steelers' favor just because of the record and the pressure. They're at home. I like that pick. That's a pretty good pick.
It would have been interesting if Teddy Bridgewater was playing, but Drew Lock, my gosh, man, that spread that spread's made with the fact that it's like they don't know that Drew Lock's playing. Anyway,
right, exactly.
What's your last game?
All right, last pick. Let's ride that Buck and Bronco as the Cowboys. Let's go the Giants, Cowboys. I really like the Cowboys. Dak has really got things going on. He's really in control. He's focused. This guy it's been an emotional season for him. The first game back at the Dallas Stadium, he was pretty emotional about that, and he delivered. He really, really delivered. And they're going to be at home again. He's overcome a lot of adversity. I think he's really, got a handle on the team. I think the coaching side of things too. I think that McCarthy's really got things going there. So I think, I'll take the Cowboys and I'll buy a point, get them at -6. And I think they easily beat the Giants.
Yeah, they should. They should beat the Giants. They should for sure. And my last pick of the week is going down here to what we just saw last week, what they did to the Rams, taking the Cardinals -5.5. And the big reason I'm on this, 2 reasons actually. Potentially Trey Lance's debut. I just don't love rookie debuts. They don't usually go well. A.
No, that's a good point because, Garoppolo's, hurt. He's obviously going to be out. And, I watched Trey Lance in a couple of games, when they come in and they run him in a play or two plays here and there. And he just doesn't seem comfortable with the offensive plays or calling the plays. He's not ready yet. I just don't think.
I think he has super, super high potential.
Yep.
But it's going to take him a second to learn that playbook. They have a very complicated playbook. And we were talking about the Cardinals offense a little bit ago. They are a nightmare for the 49ers defense. And let me tell you why. They don't run the ball, A. That's what the 49ers built their defense on, to stop the run. They don't really run the ball. They play 4 receivers, and the 49ers' weakness is their secondary. They have injuries all over the field. I think 3 corners and 1 safety is not going to play in this game. So those 4 wide receiver sets are going to be a nightmare for the 49ers. Kyler Murray can neutralize the pass rush, which is a strength of the 49ers, from his 10-yard dropbacks and just running around. It just has.
I'm going to be anxious to watch this game and see what. Because
I do think the 49ers are going to score some points. They are a very good running team with Trey Lance too. The defense has to, account for him as well. But I just think the Cardinals I think it's going to be a similar, performance to what they had with the LA Rams.
Interesting to watch. Like that pick.
All right. So, game of the week for the spread master. I actually don't even know the spread on this game, but we got to go to the Iowa-Penn State game, right? I mean, that's a great.
Oh, absolutely. Let's give them the toughest game there is.
And let's see what that spread is. Do you know what that spread is off the top of your head?
It's got to be pretty close.
It is Iowa minus 1.5 at home versus Penn State. Ooh, buddy, that's a hard one. What's that spread?
Well, I tell you what, I don't know if I want to be in the spread master's shoes.
Oh, me either.
So
man.
Here we go. Spread master. Is Iowa going to cover the 1.5 against Penn State?
Yes, I am sure.
Iowa covers.
Oh my gosh, he sounded confident.
No, he just said it straight right out. Didn't even stutter.
That was pretty crazy. All right.
Yeah. No, he's very confident in that.
Usually he's been thinking about it, but he's not even thinking about it.
No, he didn't even think about that one.
I say we asked the spread buster about the rivalry game between Oklahoma and Texas. What's that rivalry called? The Red River rivalry?
I think you're right. I think it's
that's
what,
right.
What
we
they
got
call
a spread, 3 and under here too. Oklahoma traveling to is it at Texas or is this is usually at a this is at the Cotton Bowls. No, this is at Arlington, Texas, Dallas. Yep. So this is at a neutral site.
Neutral site.
What's going to happen here is
all right.
Oklahoma.
So we got Oklahoma -3. We're going to ask the spread buster. Let's see what he. All right, Oklahoma -3. Is Oklahoma -3 going to cover? My sources say no.
Oh, Texas +3 at Oklahoma.
My sources say no. That is what the spread buster said. I'm going to relook at this. My sources say no. I'm double checking it. Yeah, he's saying no. He says that Texas is going to cover or take the 3 points and cover.
I'm excited for this game too. That if you watched Texas play, very good running back, Bijan Robinson. If they give him enough touches, I think Oklahoma's going to be in some trouble too. I like that.
Yeah, if they get it all together, I agree with that. So, we'll see what the spread buster does.
Yep. So there's our final.
There it is
for the week. Take one more final look at it, Mr. Jim. Do you have any other bonus picks or any knowledge drops for the fans?
Yeah, there's a couple other little games I liked, that I was interested in. I kind of like Boise State, maybe taking the +6 against BYU.
Okay.
I like that. I also like Wake Forest -6 at Syracuse. I kind of like that game too as well. And then there's one that just interests me over the weekend. It's like the battle of the worst college football teams this weekend. You've got UConn at UMass, and UConn is -3.5.
They're favorites.
I got to go with UConn. They've gone just a little bit better. They had a good game against Vandy. They almost beat Vanderbilt.
They beat somebody, didn't they? They got their first win. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah. So, no, I don't know if they did. You'd have to bring them up. I don't know if they actually got their first win.
Yeah,
I know they had a good game against Vanderbilt. And it was close.
Oh no, they didn't get the first win.
No,
they didn't do it. They didn't pull it off.
You got 0-4 against 0-4, and they fought hard against Vanderbilt. So that's, if I'm going to pick one, I'm going to go with UConn over UMass. I mean, UMass got it handed to them by Toledo, so give me UConn. But that is the battle of the worst college football team this weekend. Game to watch.
It's going to be a game for sure. It might be the game of the week. Hell, who knows?
I'm telling you.
All right, Mr. Jim. I really do appreciate you coming on. Safe travels tomorrow. You going back home tomorrow?
Yep, going back home. Safe travels to you on your vacation, man. Hope you have a good time. I'm sure we'll be texting each other through the weekend and checking on everything. And
yeah, my wife's in a wedding, so I got a couple tea times.
Nice.
as she's doing her wedding stuff, I'm golfing.
You got to get that in anytime you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick second to shout out. I have a lot of clients that I work with that watch my stuff. I just want to give a shout out to all you guys. Appreciate you guys supporting me. Glad you guys are my clients. I want to give a special birthday wish to one of my clients, Susie. We went golfing today at one of the best country clubs I've ever been to. It's called NCR in Dayton. So I'm gracious for that. Me and Ryan really do appreciate it. And just want to give her a shout out and appreciate it, Jim. Any final words for the viewers?
Nope. Just, watch your games, and this week ought to be a little bit better, I think. And good luck to everybody.
Yeah, good luck to everyone. We're not going 1-5 this week, ladies and gentlemen. No. We're going to turn this around. We're on the same page with 3 of our 6 picks. 100 games to pick from. 3 of the 6 are the same. We're on the same page. Locked and loaded for this week. And remember, this is our perspective. Hope you all have a great week. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video. Share the video. We're clocking out. Peace.
Peace.